Hey, what's up you guys? Marty Schwartz here from GuitarJamz.com, and so I thought this would be a good opportunity to show you some cool double stops and triads that you can add into your soloing or as accompaniment as a rhythm player as well. So these are really versatile little techniques that I'm going to show you. Okay, the basic gist of this is there's mostly dominant chords in the progression. Dominant chord, without getting too deep into theory, is like a blues sounding chord. So you have these chords, for instance, called A7, you know. That's a dominant chord. It's a blues sounding chord. There's a chord called A major 7, and that's not a dominant chord. It's not a bluesy chord. It's a more jazzy, pretty chord. That's a major 7. This is a A7. Then there's the thing called A minor 7. That's a type of minor chord with that same 7 tone in there. Okay, and then if you want to get real crazy, a minor chord with the major 7, and that sounds like this. Like a mystery chord. But we're talking about the bluesy chord. Now, you can substitute a 7 chord, which is the dominant chord, for an A9, A13, A11. Those all fit into that dominant, that bluesy sounding thing. Okay, so enough about that. That's kind of the background. Now what I'm going to show you are some of these just basic, first the basic E root bar chord for C7. Right there, barred. It's like a regular major chord, but the pinky's off. Okay, that's the 8th fret right there. So you got C7, A7. Oh, I'm sorry. You got C7. And then you have E7 to A7. Now another way to play that E7 is with the root on the A string, which is right here. And you can play that, which looks like an A major, but then an A7. Pinky, ring, barred. Just like an A7 chord. Okay, so we have C7, C7, E7, A7. Listen to it here. Now what I was playing instead of E7 was I was playing this little E7 triad right here, which is 7th fret, 6th fret, 7th fret. But now, here's a device I want to show you. So instead of, anytime you have a bar chord like this, don't get it confused with a straight major chord. This may not work depending on how it fits, but definitely with that bluesy sounding chord, you know, all that kind of bluesy sounding stuff, you always have this device. You want to keep track of the root. Right there, it's that 8th fret of the high E. We're going to bar the high E, the B, and the G. And then you can hammer on or just keep your middle finger down. So that would be 9th fret, 8th fret, 8th fret. Okay, so instead of this, you have this. Right now I'm just playing the G and high E with my thumb and middle finger while I hold the pick. You could pick them, you could strum them, okay, but you always have that. But then you always have this. That same thing a whole step down. Still over that C root though. Okay, then you also have 10th fret on the G, 10th fret on the high E. And this is all just over C7. And then up a whole step to where the middle finger's on the 12th of the G and ring finger's on the 12th of the high E. However you want to finger that. Okay? Now watch what happens though. What's cool is, remember, we had C7 to E7 to A7. Now that little trick I just showed you can be improvised, any of those little spots for each of the chords. So let's look at E7 way up here. Remember, because I was talking about if we have C7, then we have this. For E7, it's just the exact same thing up here. Now notice, instead of middle finger and ring finger, I could also bar it, and I'm just plucking the G and high E. Okay, and then for A7, it would be where the A root is on top, that 5th fret. So watch, I'm going to play the regular progression. Now this is great when another guitar player is playing what I just played, and then the other guitar player can play stuff with that higher register like I was just showing you. So check it out. And then this version instead. So you can combine those ideas and even throw them into your solo, or you can do it as a rhythm player. Here it is again. So that time I didn't do any of the moves, I just did that first one I showed you for each chord. C7, E7, A7. Okay, now the C7 and the E7 go by pretty quick, but the A7 stays twice as long, so maybe I can do a little move there. Check it out. Okay, or that one sounds better. Okay, now the fun thing is with a minor chord, which is next, D minor, A7, D minor. So I'm just going to show you one little move that you can do. For minor, you can do the exact same thing we were doing for those 7 chords, but it's that now. So for D minor, the D's on the 10th fret of the high E. We bar the 10th fret of the G and, you know, the B and the high E. And then you've got that. And we're going to not do any moves. We're just going to keep that for D minor. Okay. And then we've got that A7 again. And then we've got D minor again. Okay, so now I'll add that. With that minor, you can add what's called the 9, which is a whole step above the root while you bar it. And then you can add that pinky a half step higher. Just like that. Yeah. Then it's F to F diminished, which is really just it's like an F chord with the F sharp. So what you can do even from here, I'm just keeping that same shape I taught you, and then adding my ring finger to that 2nd fret of the high E. And then C down to A, but half steps. C, B, B flat, A. And I'm doing that little upper register. I can always add that. So let's add that all together. So C to E to A with a move, D minor, A, D minor, F diminished, which I'm just adding that 2nd fret high E, C down to a D7, G7. Remember, I said you could do that with a whole step down. Sounds, now if you have, you know, if you're still hearing that root bass, which I'm not doing because I'm not, you know, don't have another guitar player playing with me, you'll really hear how that works. So check it out. I'm going to play the regular chords, and then I'm going to do the little new move we worked on. So for G7, instead of me starting on that first one for that, I started on the slide up here. And I went. See that? So you can do that. It doesn't always have to start with that one, but I wanted to start the lesson that way so you would kind of start to piece that together. And that's just one little connection that I'm making. There's multiple little voicings like that. And the more you know, the more versatile you can be even with your rhythm playing. Or, I mean, how tasty is it when you throw in a couple double stops while you're soloing too? I mean, that's good stuff. So work on it as much as you can. Hopefully you get a few things from it. All right, hope you get something from that. Remember, you can always watch this video over and over and break down to little pieces. You know, if it's a challenge for you, just work on one shape and get that comfortable and then add another one. So, you know, hope that makes sense. Anyway, thanks again, and hope to see you in another video real soon. Take care. See you later.